Welcome to Fictional Problems, the podcast where we discuss all things writing, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. On today's episode, we go back to TTRPGs, in particular having a brief discussion about representation, inclusion, and disability in these games. Join us.
We can bring it back to TTRPGs.
Yeah, I know.
Like I say, I have limited experience. Like I think I played Scum and Villainy, and Dungeons and Dragons, and it's hard to remember any others really.
Right. Well, I've played a bunch and I've read a lot more. It's just there because yeah. So just actually drop back slightly that each of those books has taken, like, because you can find the World War II one. Indeed, you can find a 5e version of World War II.
Sure.
You can find like there's a Stargate. Do I still have the copy? I think I do. There is.
I think there's a World War I version of Eberron. I've heard of.
Well, Eberron is World War One. It is kind of post World War One.
Yeah.
It's actually inspired, but that is again a poorly written book. The from the world building point of view, there is a great catastrophe that happens, basically it's decimating one of the 11 houses, and it gives, in the most recent version of it, it gives there's a page which has a half it is an image, and then, if I remember correctly, maybe it's the third, and then they give 5 bullet points of what that catastrophe could have been.
Oh,
and it's like,
you would think that's important.
Yes, that you, even if you want it's almost lazy.
Yeah,
because
make a determination as to what it is in your building of the world.
Yeah.
But as far as anyone is concerned that lives in that world, it's a mystery. That's still the writer has written it, and that is how things have affected whatever it happens to be, whatever that catastrophe was. That will obviously spiral everything off it.
Yeah, but
saying, it could be any of these things.
Yes,
goes, well, then that's sloppy.
Exactly,
it's completely sloppy. You know, it should have a definite impact somewhere, and maybe no one knows what it is. That's a completely different. Like in world, they don't know. That's fine.
Sure,
but the author should know.
Yeah, and when you're building a book to essentially go, we want to inspire you to write, then give the comparison I will often use is when the main White Wolf series came to an end, they ended each of the main lines with a World's End, an end times book.
Okay.
So but each of them had multiple endings. Basically each chapter was this ends because of this.
Okay.
This ends because of this. This ends because of this. So they were completely independent of one another. But it gave meat to the reader to go, I like this one. I really didn't like this one.
Yeah.
But even from the point of view of saying, I didn't like it. Why didn't you like it? Because it was too small. Because it is. But what's the nub of that reason? Okay, well, I can see why they went down that route. That can be inspirational as well.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't bother to spend the time putting in the legwork to go, this is some possible reasons. Here's how it impacts.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I'm reminded of, was it in Family Guy, Brian Griffin's self-help book, where half the pages were just blank for you to take your own notes.
Sure,
but that's not helpful.
Yeah,
It's quite funny, but
there is was it I can't remember, maybe it was old RPGs. The way they used to be written was when a gallows copy of an old RPG would be written, and maybe I'm misremembering, that it would be twice as long because every second page would be blank. So that you'd open it up and go, okay, I can put all my
Homebrew.
notes in. I can no. This is part of the writing process. You could put your notes in, so that when you handed back the gallows copy, you go, well, I have a lot of notes for you on this. So rather than trying to spin a post-it or pin a page on it, they were like, this is part of our interaction. The most recent one I came across this, which was terrible, was and this actually would lead into a different, hopefully different, into a different topic for the next few moments. That Daggerheart, which does basically the same thing. The back of it has about 7 different worlds. One of them, different. Some of them are fantasy based. Some of them are. One of them is basically a Legend of the Colossus. Or what's the legend? Not Legend of the Colossus. What's the old Sega game where you went and killed a bunch of massive beasts?
Altered Beast?
No, of the Colossus. What's the name of the Colossus?
I can't recall.
Okay, there's one that's basically that. One which is basically sci-fi. There's and it is their, basically they looked at other books and went, oh, other books have this. It's like, not in the same way. It's about 10 pages each, and they give some plot threads for it, but it is only for that world, as in they're completely separate.
Okay.
So it's not like you can take okay, well, let's take this and merge together. Well, because each sliver is separate. Each of them should have their own books. They should be, whether it be,
they might, it depends.
But but why then introduce them in? They are giving piss poor versions thereof. The one thing that really stuck out was representation. So they are like a big push on representation, and this is a question that as writers we have to challenge ourselves with. That how do we correctly and authentically depict people of neurodivergence, of trans, of different backgrounds to our own? For most of the time, my position is there's assholes everywhere, and it doesn't matter. That I put any pronouns on a character, and I don't. I say I don't care. It's the I don't care in the best possible way.
As in, it doesn't necessarily make a difference in that respect. As in,
yeah. You want? I think there was some complaints when I think it was the new version of It, where the couple which was attacked at the start of It happened to be a gay couple. In the book, it's a heterosexual couple, and in my mind, hate is hate. They're hate. The couple is attacked because the locals hate them.
Yeah,
hate is hate in that regard.
Yeah.
So that they had that they had a gay couple attacked. Absolutely, it's fucking horrible. It's wrong. It's a good way to if you want to use that as a good way to show your villains.
Yeah.
Yes, you're setting them up. Yeah, I don't want to know these people. They're villains. They're horrible people. Fuck them. In Daggerheart, there is a inclusion. There's a 2-page inclusion of a battle wheelchair.
Okay.
So when you're flicking through the book, you're going through a bunch of tables, tier tables for different weapons, and then you flick the page, and then you have this 2-page display, which it appears out of nowhere. Of here's how to build and the stats for a battle armchair. You flip the page again, and you're back into more tier tables.
Okay.
Very much felt like there was just bad
on the nose, like
bad construction of the book.
Yeah,
that they couldn't figure out a way to put it in, so it's dropped in somewhere else. And of the many reasons why it's not a well designed book. If I was redesigning that book, that would be, and I wanted to include that level, that type of inclusion.
Yeah.
I would have it as mentioned as part of every character class. That why is so let's say we're dealing with just people, let's say paraplegics. We're going let's of all the different types of say handicap, we're also going to deal with people who would need wheelchairs.
Yeah,
just paraplegics. I would look at druids. Okay, so are you a paraplegic who, when you transform into a animal, are you fully functional? In which case, what's that happen? Why is that happen? What impact is having on you psychologically?
Yeah.
Would you ever want to go back to your body? Bran in A Song of Ice and Fire, when he wargs into other creatures, he can't walk, but when he's wargs into other creatures,
he can fly and he can run. Yeah.
Yes, he can fly. He can do something that that just shakes it. So he spends all his time in Three-Eyed Raven's cave, working away, just being elsewhere, and not being in his body,
furiously working away,
as any teenage boy would too.
Work their little guts out.
Yeah. What did they end up with? Calluses. But so you so you then if he's a wizard, does the character focus on, again, the type of magic he's looking for?
Yeah.
Is he looking for magic that it will particularly reassess his handicap, or will there was a vampire character that a guy who played called Sinclair, who was blind and used his auspex discipline to see.
Yeah,
he could see it's like, say, Jordan Forge he used
the entire spectrum.
Yeah, at one point, a guy threatened him by showing his claws, and Sinclair went, "I'm sorry, I can't see that," because he and he was 100% honest. He couldn't see it, but he could get the impression of every other thing.
Yeah.
So this is the idea of how a magic system, or how a sci-fi system interacts with the
character,
with a character with a real world handicap, or real world deficit, or negative, and if you want to bring them in, because I would say that I don't want to play me when I'm playing a character.
Sure.
Again, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll play anything else other than me. I don't.
Gary the fighter died many times.
Yes, but Al the whatever never existed.
Yeah.
I would look at playing. So the modern idea of people going, I want to see myself in fiction, isn't something that I connect with.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a character where you have the magic, each character class has the interaction. You include details about how that character would pass through. Have examples of, say, like the Master Blaster idea of, say, someone who, like, say, the Hodor carrying Bran. You have a Hodor-like character, or so you just have with a normal intelligence, say, just a big burly guy who has this person on their back, and they've bonded in the same way that Grog and Pike did in Critical Role. Big person, small person, they bonded that way. Include that in the book. Give details. Give a pathway. Show how you can, and you don't have to be massively complex about it. Just
no deep dives into backstories necessarily, but you can obviously show the interactions, the friendliness, or just how they treat each other in front of others, and you can build it in that way. There's the foundation of their relationship. You can see it, how they talk to each other and how others treat them, both individually and together. You could,
I think more on a systemic level, that because whoever will pick up this will want to write their own character. That the even sayings like I think it was in various different editions of D&D, the fighter will get a steed, or the paladin will get a steed at some point. Well, factor that in as part of the character, that when they reach tier 4 or when they reach level 10, they get access to the first version, or at level 5 they get the wheeled version, at level 10 they get the hover version. They go full Charles Xavier. So suddenly, okay, what can they do now? Now they are fully realized, as they can move around the place. Other people could hop on them.
Yeah.
So now it's flipped.
Yeah.
So you have a pathway of, here's what we think the system can do to address this level of inclusion.
So you're saying in that particular book, it kind of feels like lip service only. It's
very
just like
much so.
Splash of an image.
Yeah.
By the way, we've thought of this.
Yeah, and the fact that
we're moving on now.
Yeah, the fact that it was dropped in the way it was, it really rankled me, and it is
virtue signaling almost.
Yes, and it's. It just really stuck in my craw. Of all the things that are wrong with it, there's a lot of piss poor game design decisions in it. This was the biggest one that stuck out, because they are so because they claim to have such a inclusion, and it really paints itself as being white knighty that it's just hopefully I've explained my position well.
Yeah.
That you want to give the people, if you are addressing a certain concern, then address it.
Yeah.
If you want to be inclusive, then be inclusive. Like the one thing that I thought we could get onto would be things like, if you are including, like, say, one of the things I'm working on is grounded in modern day, but by including a trans character in that mix.
Yeah. The
question of how to do that in a reasonable, respectful, proper manner is, because I have no problem. Like, I have absolutely no problem in someone looking at every character I have written. Say I've written it and thinking of them all as trans.
Okay.
I have no, because as long as you're not talking about, say, pregnancy, then there is no reason at all that every character I've written can't be seen as a trans person. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah, sure.
If they were to cast a TV show based on one of my books, I would have no problem at all with every character being every actor being trans. There's no issue with that at all.
Sure, yeah.
Because there's it shouldn't be, in my mind. It shouldn't be a thing. Trans men are men, trans women are women. But when one is trying to depict specifically iterate that, or clearly represent,
okay,
then it becomes from a TTRPG, you're basically just stating it. You're going, here's the thing, here's
feels like it's coming out in a more negative way than intended, perhaps. It's like here's a spotlight, and the very little time we're spending shining this spotlight kind of shows how much we care about it. As in, here's your big splash picture, and we're moving on.
Yeah.
As opposed to, here, we're going to deal with this throughout. We're going to kind of address all these matters throughout the work or throughout the book.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, that it should form part of everything.
Yeah.
As options.
Yeah. That there should be, at least, it should have been part of the design strategy.
Yeah.
In a
rather than an afterthought, perhaps.
Yeah, and the way it just appears and then this disappears again, it does feel. But from a point of view of a trans character, for example, in a novel setting, that there is because the person, if you're in a visual setting, it's very easy. Yeah, this person is trans. This person is whatever. That's fine.
Yeah,
but when you're on the page, when you're saying she said this and he said that and she said this and he said that, unless you are particularly calling them out, and because
that's the syntax you have to use.
Yeah, I tend to because it doesn't matter. My characters, see, the lead character in the grounded thing I'm working on remote has I'll say it this way: they have she/her pronouns. Could she be trans? 100%.
Yeah, it's
like looking at, say, the Good Omens TV show. Good Omens TV show, they are coded as being a gay couple. And I'm 100%. I think the two of them, both actors, are fantastic. I think the first season was grand, but you can also see that there's nothing wrong in seeing that as two hetero guys having a positive hetero relationship. There's nothing wrong in seeing in that light, because you can see in that light. There's nothing that says that you can't.
Like Sam and Frodo.
Exactly like Sam and Frodo. You can see Sam and Frodo as a gay couple, or you can see them or having a gay relationship, or you can see them as having a strong hetero relationship. So from I guess this is keyed into kind of a brief diatribe about representation. And I'll code it by saying that. I'll finish by saying this. As we've talked about how the inspiration for a character or the inspiration for that you use to create a story can be simply the scaffolding around which
and it can come from anywhere.
That I can write a character that I see as trans, that I never depict as trans.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing them there. Like one of the characters in one of my books, I use very little characteristic descriptors. At one point, I describe one character as he is a former member of the Harlem Hellcats, which was a World War I division.
Right.
And anyone who knows, and in fact, Harlem was possibly enough for people to get the reference, but from this was World War One, so Harlem was also populated by, it wasn't as specifically a black neighborhood, but or if I remember correctly, which I might not be, but that was a African American only division, and that's the one of two references I make in the entire book to that guy's
skin color.
Yeah, and the last one is almost on the last page, where he rubs his black, or he rubs his mocha head, and he just basically draws his hand across his bald head.
Yeah.
That's essentially it. I almost wanted to include that as playing with the audience, as if to say,
did you get that? Did you see?
I mentioned his race from the start. If you then bond with that guy and then have an objection to him being black at the end, then that's on you. So I want a bond with a character based on the character rather than on their type.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you for listening to Fictional Problems, in association with Speculative Fiction Ireland. On our next episode, we'll be discussing how we deal with action on the page. We'll talk about magic, super science, and healing. We'll explore the idea of systemizing your magic system, and we'll comment on the movie Old Guard. Join us.